What made you break your own heart for your sister? My sister's crush asked me out, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't interested. My younger sister Kayla and I were at a campus bookstore buying art supplies when the most gorgeous guy walked through the doors. Tall, sharp-eyed, and dimpled. The type of handsome that made my face flush and immediately turn away. I glanced at my sister who stared holes into him. He reached for a watercolor pad on the top shelf, his shirt riding up just enough to show a tattoo of what looked like a Bengal tiger. I nearly fainted. Kayla squeezed my arm and whispered, "Oh my god, do you see him?" I did. It was impossible not to. Before I could say anything, Kayla walked over and tapped on his shoulder. "Hi, I'm sorry. Could you help me reach for that canvas over there?" He turned around with this easy smile and handed them to her. "We're in art history class together, right?" he asked. "I'm Eric." Kayla smiled, lifting her hair behind her ear. "Oh." His eyes suddenly lit up, looking my way. "Is that a Studio Ghibli architectural book?" My eyes widened, heart racing uncontrollably. "Yeah, I love the details in the animation and the nods to the Industrial Revolution." His face softened. Kayla laughed and jumped in. "Wow, yes. I also really love Studio Ghibli. Maybe we could talk about it over coffee?" Eric pulled out his phone and exchanged numbers with Kayla before turning to me, smiling and waiting with his phone out. "And yours?" I fumbled for my phone and shared my number with him nervously. "See you guys around," he said, walking over to the cashier to finish shopping. That night, Kayla couldn't stop talking about him. To think he was in our class this whole time? I'm in love. I leaned my head on her shoulder. "Well, if you're really in love, I'll support you." But the texts from Eric started that same night, and each time I tried steering it back to Kayla. "Is Princess Mononoke your favorite, or are you more of a Howl's Moving Castle person? Is there one you haven't watched?" he asked. I quickly replied, "Oh, you know Kayla loves Howl. You should ask her about it in class." But he'd just respond with another question for me. "Is Howl more your type too?" My ears blushed red. "Stop it," I reminded myself, forcing the stupid smile on my face to go away. Even when I wanted to stop talking to him, he kept finding excuses to text me. Concert recommendations, bookstore events, anime conventions, and each time I'd redirect. "Kayla would love that concert," or "You should take Kayla to that bookstore." His responses got shorter, more confused. "But I'm asking if you want to go. Don't ask me." I wanted to scream. I tried to convince myself he was just kind and spoke to every person the same way. But Kayla's texts with him were different, and I hated the fact that that made me happy. But the more time went on, the more I gave in, little by little, sending him back art book recommendations and funny memes. I felt guilty, especially when the three of us sat in class together looking like a messy trio. Kayla looking at Eric, Eric looking at me, and me trying to disappear from my seat. Then Thursday afternoon, I heard a knock. Eric stood there holding sunflowers, my favorite. "These are for you," he started. "I wanted to officially ask you on a date." My heart stopped. "I can't," I whispered. "She saw you first." "That's not how this works," he said, frustrated. "But it's how it has to work," I pleaded, hearing Kayla's footsteps approach. "They're for Kayla," I said, calling for her before he could correct me. Kayla ran over and squealed when she saw the flowers. "Wait here!" Kayla gasped, sprinting to her room to put on a date-worthy outfit. Eric stared back at me, hurt and disappointed. "I thought you felt the same way." I bit back my tongue and fought back tears. "Just wait in the kitchen until she's back." I left the door open and headed back to my room to cry. Kayla insisted I come on their second date. "It'll be less awkward with you there," she begged. "He seems nervous around me." We went to an arcade downtown. Kayla kept trying to impress Eric at skee-ball while he and I gravitated toward the vintage Pac-Man machine. "You know the pattern for level 256? He asked quietly while Kayla was getting tokens. "Everyone knows that," I lied, trying to focus on the game while he stepped closer and closer towards me. "If I had asked you to date here, would you say yes?" I shook my head no. Kayla came back, linking her arm through Eric's. "You two and your nerdy stuff," she laughed. By the third date, I tried backing out, but Kayla wouldn't let me. We went to a Studio Ghibli film festival. Halfway through the film, Kayla fell asleep on his shoulder. He stared at me in the dark, his hand finding mine. "If you push my hand away, I'll take it as a sign. I'll really stop," he whispered. I felt tears stinging my eyes. This was it. This was the chance I was waiting for. I glanced at Kayla, then back at him, telling myself to let go, but couldn't. We held hands until the film festival ended. I decided to tell Kayla the truth the next morning. I stepped out into the living room, calling for her, then stopped dead in my tracks. My eyes went wide. Kayla and a stranger sat up from their cuddling position on the couch quickly. "So, turns out I like math guys more than art guys." "And Eric?" Kayla grinned. "You can have him. He's clearly obsessed with you anyway." I laughed. All that stress and heartache for nothing. How anticlimactic.